Hello and welcome to the Bear Bush Traders Podcast. Today's conversation between Thor and I covers major benefits that a trading community can provide you. I can tell you now, 3 of the 4 benefits we're going to cover are constantly overlooked by new traders specifically. We're going to show you today what those are and how to tap into them and make sure you're getting the best out of your trading community. Let's dive right into episode number 12, Unleashing the Power of Trading Communities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bear Bush Traders Podcast with Carlos Moreta and Thor Young, your 2 hosts of this podcast. And today we're going to be talking about a really good topic, which might seem obvious to people, but I think there's a lot of, I want to say money left on the table, or maybe some opportunities left on the table, like we say in trading, that you can take advantage of as a trader. So today we'll talk about taking full advantage of your trading community. Thor, my friend, how you been? Hope all is well.
Oh man, I'm amazing. Thanks, man. Doing good. Market's been a little fun these past couple of days. I think this is going to be a really great topic. I like the kind of the way you presented that, which is you think there's some money left on the table. So often we spend time, you know, kind of going into these rooms or going to these chat resources and we spend lots of money on all these different scanners and indicators and all of this stuff and what we have is at our fingertips, but we just don't focus on it. You know what I mean? So this will
Yeah.
be a really good topic to see about some different things and how we can really prioritize that.
Yeah, I agree, and it happens, man. We everybody gets busy, or they just they might be thinking one side and not seeing the bigger picture. And in some cases, I think traders know what they're looking to do and what they should be doing, but there might be some fears and some hesitant to actually get something done and started. So the first one the first topic we have is going to be accountability. So one of the main reasons why you want to join a trading community, and the response I got from Twitter, I actually put this out on Twitter, was everybody's focused on learning and the education part of it. And 100%, that is the right answer. I think that's the number one thing you should be joining a community for, is to get the learning experience, especially when you start out. You don't really know what you're doing as far as trading. You want to build that experience. But there's so many other things that are being left on the table here that traders are not really pushing the envelope on. And one of them is going to be accountability, right? A community can really help you become more accountable, because as you progress as a trader, you're going to realize that the biggest issues that traders have is accountability. By far, this is one of the things that that in trading can be extremely difficult. And I compare this to, for example, trading as a business, right? From an early age, and Thor, we probably mentioned this in the podcast before. This is episode number 12. So I don't remember what we talked about in episode 3 or 4. This could have been done there, right? But that's going to happen. Repetition is important. And I compare it to like a business, right? When you start out in a business, even your education as in high school, elementary school, even as a kid, man, starting to walk, there's boundaries, there's checks and balances. Your parents are putting the check and balances in place. Hey, here's the gate. Don't go up the steps. Don't touch the heater. It's hot. That's your checks and balances. You go to high school, your teachers are putting checks and balances in place. Protection. You can't do this, can't do that. Got to be in class. All the way up to your job, your 9 to 5, your boss is putting the check and balances in place. Hey, you got to be in on time. If you're not going to be here long enough. So we have these in when you go bowling, they have what is called the rails.
Yeah,
We have these
absolutely. The
rails,
little guide rails, the
yeah,
kid rails, man,
to
we call them.
prevent us from falling into the side here. Trading takes the rails out. There's no checks and balances. You're on your own. You're the person that has to be every single hat on there, right? And accountability in trading goes out the window because there's nobody else checking you on this. So if you could trust in a few members of the community, build a small group within the community, you can really build some great accountability that's going to take you, man, a long way, because that's one thing that traders really, really struggle with.
Yeah, man. I mean, 100% correct. I mean, as you said, every single situation almost in your entire life, you always have some kind of accountability that's just there, and it's just kind of built in. I think society wise, we've just kind of done
Yeah.
that because in order to develop good humans and good people, we understand this happens. And then you get into this trading thing, and it's a very unique scenario where you're now going to it's almost kind of like going into college, but instead of going to college in person, you go to college over the internet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
a completely different accountability metric. But even in the internet one, there's still tests you have to take at a certain time. There's a certain time frame. There's grades you're going to get. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
still so many different ways to adjudicate. This is part of why we talked in the prior episode about having your trade book and well defining that, because you have to find a way to grade yourself and
Yeah.
adjudicate. So, and one of the big things that can happen, and I think it's our number one topic here on this with community, is if you don't have any of those things, you need a place to find them, to provide them, to help you, and to find accountability. We've been trading, both of us, for probably about a half a decade,
Hmm.
each. And as we've, one of the things I think both of us will agree that we kind of got to be moderators at BBT, and being a moderator was a massive benefit to our trading progression
Yeah.
because of the
Yes.
accountability, because you're
Hmm.
showing your trades to people every single day,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're, in Andrew's case and even my case at times, because you're actually showing your P&L to people and saying, this
Yeah.
is how
Yeah.
much, money I've made today. People actually get to see these things. The accountability is on a super big level. So it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
helps us, but not everyone gets the opportunity to do that. So you have to make sure, and a lot of this is just, you really have to take control of your own education and your own progress and take advantage of the community. There's a lot of ways you can do that. A good trading buddy, for instance, you'll find
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
community that can really help you out. I know that's been critical for a lot of us.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned a great point, a trading buddy. It doesn't have to be the entire community, right? So when we talk about accountability, the community is going to help you find a trading buddy or a couple of trading buddies. So when I was in the process, I was a very light, early on moderator. So I was just working on helping with the community and answer some questions when I first started. And at that time, I was kind of still finding my groove as a trader. And we built a small team. It was me and some other traders that we became like a little small group. It was about four of us. And what we did is every weekend we will talk throughout the week, several times a day, for on our trading. But at the end of the week, we had this accountability rules where we share everything, right? We had this trust factor where we was like, hey, listen, we're sending over our P&L, and not just our P&L. We're sending over our screenshot of our interactive brokers platform that showed the amount that was in there, how many trades we took. So there was no messing around, right? We really wanted to hold each other accountable, right? Now, I'm not suggesting you start sharing all your information like that with people you don't trust. You got to build that trust first. And you could hide the account number or something, but don't share everything, right? Be very careful with that. But obviously, I've been talking to these people for quite a while, probably a year or so. So there was a trust there. And we all share every week. We sat down and we all share this. And again, we're not perfect, but it really helped us to be more accountable. So make sure you're using the community to find that trading buddy, that trading partner, where you can hold each other accountable. Because man, this is one of those checks and balances that you're not going to find in trading. It's just not there. And as you're building your discipline, because we all could be disciplined in 9 to 5, right? It's very easy to. I'm not gonna say very easy, but it's easier to be disciplined
Mm.
at 9 to 5 when you have someone at the door checking in when you come in, when you come out. What are you doing? Here's the key KPI metrics that they're all follow, easy to track.
You don't
In
show up, you get
trading,
an email.
yeah,
You don't
exactly.
show up on time, you're getting an
Yeah,
email. Hey, you
yeah.
need to come talk to somebody.
Right. In trading, you don't have that. So you have to build that process, and having some people on your side that are going to the same thing. You could be their accountability partner can really help you drastically. So make sure you're taking advantage of that when it comes to the community. The next thing is collaboration, right? Being able to collaborate with other traders and share ideas. So you have kind of like an accountability group, which is a smaller group. Then the next was more, collaborating with different traders. And you'd be surprised. A lot of traders come in, they're quiet, they don't really talk a lot in the community. So they're kind of like in the back end, sitting at the end of the class type thing. And that's okay. But everybody's different. If you're able to collaborate with different traders, it's gonna drastically help you. I mean, I learned so much. I mean, after reading all the books and starting with Andrew's book, and Thor, you could relate to this because you wrote your own book, right? So you know how this works. After reading plenty of books that you have had as well, being able to share ideas with traders is a whole different ballgame, right? It's
Oh
like the
yeah.
next level of being able to, get really involved and be really active in a community is sharing ideas. And I learned so much, man, when I'm in the chat room from moderators, from members. And if you're not actively doing that, not actively collaborating with people, it can really hold you back from moving forward as fast as you possibly can.
Well, so my experience was I got to a certain level, and I think this is true for most people, but there is a level of understanding that only comes when you start to teach others.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
can start really analyzing and starting to help, people within your community and help help them learn about things, even if it's a mundane topic that you feel like you know well. Well, why not better reinforce something you know well, right? And then help other people to understand it. And what you will find is as you teach, you will gain confidence in what you know, and these will become things that you will lean on as you develop your trading edges. For me, for instance, as a trader, I'm not a very great fundamental trader. So, you're talking about
Yeah.
sitting down, reading through the news, stocks, inflation numbers, percentages, expected moves, all of these different things. Partly maybe because of my ADHD, I really have a lot of trouble sitting around and just reading stuff for that long. And mostly keeping it in my head and remembering what I've read for that matter. So what I needed to do is I rely heavily on reading the order book and reading the tape. Because although I may not know where we're going, I can more or less tell which way we're going for a short period of time. And that is what I have relied upon, along with, a Camarilla based pivot system that kind of gives me some ideas of where I want to get in and where I want to get out. But that took me a long time to build that effort, and it came collaboratively, hands
Right.
down. So I was actually trading in BBT, trading using order book, using more tape, but I was trading more of like reversals off of certain pattern setups, like a double top, head and shoulders, something like that. And then I had a member of the Bear Bull Traders. We call him the real Mark, the real Mark Douglas. But he actually sends me an email and says, "You're looking for something. Here it is." And
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
fully detailed breakdown on basic pivot structure and what to look for, and a link to a couple of YouTube videos to check out. And I never turned down an opportunity to learn because people are going to ask me about it anyway. And I started looking at it and I was like, man, this is it. Now Mark is my trading buddy. Mark and I have
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
trading basically ever since then. We trade together. My first trading buddy was Eamon, who most
I
people
remember you
know in
guys
here
working
is one of
together.
our
Yeah.
extremely
Yeah.
successful mods. Eamon and I became mods at the same time. Eamon and I have incredibly divergent trading styles,
Hmm.
and he is one of the best traders I know, for the record.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But we have very divergent trading styles. But even in a collaborative environment, we helped each other learn the commonalities between our trading styles, and then we allowed ourselves to diverge eventually. Now I trade more with Mark because we have a more similar style, and Eamon got too popular, and he doesn't return my calls anymore.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. He became like a doctor and got all cool. But no, I'm just kidding. If anyone has any opportunity to watch any of Eamon's material, his understanding and concepts, especially around risk versus reward, and his execution ability, which we talked a lot about in a prior webinar, our prior
Yeah.
webcast, podcast, we talked a lot about how important execution above all things are. And Eamon is, we call him AI man for a reason, because the
Yeah.
dude
Seriously.
executes it. It's such an extremely high level. It's incredible.
Yeah, and you could tell even by him building his watch list how focused it is. I mean, he literally has one or two tickers a day, no more, right? And he's very
Mm.
specific, very particular on what the stuff that he's gonna watch and trade, right? And he's also in so many cases in the morning he has no tickers that he likes. He's like, I don't like nothing today, right? So he's very, very particular about what he's going to watch. It kind of reflects his style a little bit, right? So yeah, guys, make sure you're collaborating with other members of the community. Don't don't feel that someone's going to say, oh, you know what, I don't want to work with this person. Put yourself out there. It might be a little bit uncomfortable to do that, but you have to reach out to other people and share your ideas. And not always keep in mind too, and this also goes on the receiving end, right? Somebody reaches out to you, say, hey, listen, can we collaborate? Keep in mind that everybody's different, right? Everybody's going to have different ideas that might not match with the stuff that you're looking to do. You brought up a good point, Thor. Your style was very different than Amy's, but you still managed to work together to actually, for a benefit of each other. So it works out. Actually, looking at the way somebody else trades that's very different than yours can give you a different perspective on the market, right? Because if you're
Oh,
looking
absolutely.
on just everybody trading the 5 minute RB, we're all together all trading the 5 minute RB, you might miss other things you can learn from people that trade a little bit differently than you. So, just kind of get over that hesitance, kind of have some confidence in being able to do that. The
Well,
next one
that's
is,
another advantage
yeah,
there, man. On that is diversity. Within a
yeah,
community, that's a big help. Because maybe
absolutely.
you have an idea about how you want to trade, but by paying attention, you start to realize, maybe this doesn't fit me. Maybe I thought this momentum style was really good for me, but it's not. I need to use something more like one of Amon's pinpoint strategies. I'm better at isolating very specific levels I want to try and
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
You're incredibly good at isolating specific levels that you expect to see
Hmm.
specific price action around, and then you wait for the price action and trade off of it. So
Yeah.
all of us have similarities to our styles, but I would challenge you to find any one of the moderators at Bear Bull Traders that trade the same. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Much, all across
Yeah.
the board in every way. John and Mike may be
Are
the
very
two
similar. Yeah.
closest, but they're both peak capital and they both use a very similar similar trading style.
Hmm.
So that they are probably the exception to the rule. Otherwise, I mean, we got moderators trading options with all kinds of weird stuff, options, futures,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
got everything going across the board otherwise. But I mean, the diversity that you get in a community, and I'm going to specifically shout out Bear Bull Traders here because I actually think this is not true for every community. But
Correct. Yeah.
at Bear Bull
Yeah.
Traders, because I've never belonged to a different community, so I
Hmm.
won't speak for them. I'll just speak for ours. The diversity that you find in Bear Bull Traders is, it's at least on par with anybody else's. I would humbly say we exceed probably just about the majority, but I don't know that for a fact. So I'll just say we're at least
Yeah.
on par with
Yeah.
everybody else. We've got every walk of life, every thought concept, any trader who has we've got all of that in here. So if you're looking for like-minded traders to help support you, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
help bring you into the fold of trading, without all of the like the hype and the weird stuff. We're not like really a hype group or anything like that. You'll love BBT. It's a very warm place to be, and
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone's very collaborative.
It sure is. And what I love about it is because I strongly believe this now. At first, I didn't. You know, there's all kinds of strategies that you're not going to be good at, right? So the key is to be able to find the one that you're good at. And then when you have a group where our playbook has at least 12 different strategies, and you see the faces of the moderators on each of those 12 strategies, you're sitting on some, I'm sitting on the 5 minute, Andrew's sitting on the 1 minute, the Rising Devil with Brian. There's so many different strategies, and you get to try all of these and see which one you're good at, right? I strongly don't believe that there could be one strategy for every trader. That doesn't work,
Mm-mm.
right? There's
Nope.
no way. So when I see these ads, they drive me crazy. I know I mentioned this before, but it's like there's just no way, no way.
Well,
Um,
only because we have to acknowledge, and this we talk. I think if this podcast is anything, it's more of a psychology podcast, really.
it probably is, right?
If you
Yeah,
think about it, I mean, although we're just talking dad life and trade life and stuff like that,
yeah.
we're generically not going over the technicals of the market. We're just talking about us and y'all
Hmm.
and what's going on, and that is a big factor there. Psychology alone would determine that not everyone can trade the same system
Right,
because the
right.
systems are vary with psychology. You like your 5 minute because that's how you see things. You see it. Andrew likes something a little bit more aggressive, so he trades more of the price discovery phase.
Hmm.
So, but he's really good at reading price action and he can handle it. So we've all kind of got different. I don't today. I have a trade on now, and I mean, I didn't take my first trade till after 10 o'clock because I was waiting to see, the consumer index and how that all came out, and
Yeah,
before I
yeah.
started trying to make decisions. So, and I knew we were going to chop ahead of that, so I saw no value in getting in early. So we
Hmm.
all have insanely varied strategies, but they fit our psychology, right? I'm a horrible opening range trader, right? Because I have no conviction in either direction. It's not, I don't use those indicators, so I have to wait
Right,
for the order
right.
book to set up. I gotta wait for the price discovery phase to end. I gotta see where all the orders are on the order book, see how things are hitting the tape, and then I make decisions based upon whether I think we're in an area where we're likely to buy or sell. But
Yeah, yeah.
Andrew doesn't need any of that, right? Andrew's going to
Hmm.
sit down. His psychology is so dialed. He's so in tune. He says, okay, we're selling hard. I see lots of buying. We've got orders to the top side already. I'm going to go ahead and hit that momentum. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
15 G's on Tesla. You know what I mean? I
It's
mean,
so many different trading styles, and being able to see a community where we have 12, I know for a fact, all well documented with our trade books, so you can go in there and try these. is a really, really good benefit. It kind of goes back to that, being able to collaborate and work with other traders, in the community. So again, guys, I know it's easier said than done, especially when you start out. You want to tend to be a little bit shy and don't want to kind of, get out there, put yourself out there, but try it. You'd be surprised how many other people are sitting in your same situation that are looking for someone to reach out, and you could build this collaboration team where you can get better as traders, right? Point number three is emotional support. And this is a big one. And it's probably one that, again, speaking of putting yourself in a vulnerable situation, could be, and is very difficult to do with people you're just getting to meet, right? So this might take a little bit of time, but it's important to be able to share the struggles, the challenges that you're having as a trader, because trust me, you are not the only one. And this, I think, it becomes
Mm-mm.
very, very difficult when we're not doing well. Instead of putting ourselves out there and, seeking help and seeing, okay, who else is having the same problem? And trust me, there are going to be other people having the
Oh,
same exact
always.
issues, especially in trading, because you've seen the learning curve. We all go through it, right? We get a little luck at first, then we all just drop and lose a ton of money, and then we go sideways for a bit, and waiting to become consistent, right? That's kind of like the trend. And everyone I speak to has the very same similar learning curve. So trust me, somebody in the community is going to the exact same stages of that learning curve. There's some point in that stage, right? And there's no skipping it, by the way. We try that. You can't skip it.
Yeah,
We all go
we
through
we've all tried it.
it.
It didn't work.
Yeah,
Well, you got to think there's somebody out there who's probably going through that same thing, and maybe they're just waiting for you to say something. You know what I
exactly.
mean? So
Right.
so maybe you
Right.
need a little support. Maybe someone else needs a little support, but maybe you're going to be, maybe you can extend the olive branch and take that step and say, hey, I'm looking for someone to try and analyze some stuff with. I mean, that's, inevitably that's how at BBT we have some like little membership get-togethers we'll do every now and again. Like Megan specifically
Hmm.
runs these
Yeah.
very well, where she'll do like she'll do a trading buddy get together, basically, where anyone who's looking for a trading buddy, she'll do like a Zoom call or something like that, and anyone who wants one come in, and she more or less does like a little like
Yeah.
bachelor meetup kind of thing. It's hilarious and awesome, but people come in there. But if you don't have that opportunity, sign up for BBT and you will. Now,
Hmm.
if you don't have that opportunity, you should, don't be afraid to just go out and ask. Anyone who's, if you do not have a trading buddy, if you have not isolated somebody to work with and help you with in trading, you are definitely not taking advantage of maybe the number one resource being in a community offers you,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
opportunity to find somebody to offer you some support. And really, and this is, nothing but love to the spouses, but this is just one of those things where if I have a really rough day trading, maybe I'm not even red, maybe I just over traded, I didn't like the way I traded, so I'm just a little annoyed and frustrated.
Hmm.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? The
Yeah.
the I can't go downstairs and walk up to my wife and go, "Hey, hun, you just won't believe this, man. I was trying to go long on MESM3 today, futures contract for this, basically the SPY. It sold against me hard. I got stopped out. I went back long, but then it stopped out. I went back long." She's gonna look at me and be like, "Who are you, and why are you
Yeah.
talking to me?"
Yeah. What are you telling me
like
here?
like I don't care. And it's not that she doesn't love me and she doesn't care about me and my frustration. It's just, I could walk up to her and just like, I could walk up to her and just take out this thing and just be like, "Hey, hun, guess what? Succeed as a full-time," you know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it, it's
Yeah.
not
It's
information that she's going to
right.
like, or it's going to be relevant. And she's not going to be able, she'll say, "I'm sorry you had a tough day, honey. You know,
Go figure it out.
get it done." You know what I mean? And as she should, but
Right.
having the
Right.
trading buddy in here, that's just not something for them. You know what I mean? They're not going to be a support for you in that regard. That would be like you getting, one of the worst things you can do, by the way, is if you work at like, a retail environment or in a corporation, when you're having trouble at work coming home and laying that out on your spouse, because they can't do anything about it other than just listen. And at some
Yeah.
point it
Yeah.
just makes them anxious. You know what I mean? Because they know you're struggling at work, and they're like, "Well, if they're struggling at work, do I got to be worried about stuff at home?" And it's
Yeah.
just one of
Yeah.
those things where and especially in the trading thing, because of the disconnect and verbiage. It's just really easy just to have I like a small group, or a couple of trading buddies, people you can work with. I have the whole 1 o'clock session every day. I go into 1 o'clock session, I show my trades, and I vent for an hour. It's the most
Yeah.
miraculous thing in my
Exactly.
life.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. And I got, we have, a few hundred people that are in there every single day, and we just talk and we go over mentoring every Thursday night I do a mentoring session for BBT, but every day at 1 o'clock p.m. is a mentoring session at BBT because I really don't trade that much. I'm normally already done, or I'm in
Yeah.
one or two
Yeah.
trades. I answer questions the whole time and we talk. And you would be surprised, the vast majority of those questions are psychology based. Just people like, man,
Right.
I'm
Right.
trying to do that. And one of the questions I'll ask is, who's your account, who are your accountability? And they're like, oh, I'm really looking, and these people are willing to pay people, you know what I mean? They're like, I
Hmm.
will pay you to be my friend. Like, I just need some help. So
Yeah.
if you don't
Yeah.
have somebody, trust me, there's people out there that are looking for an accountability partner. So like you're saying, someone who can just share and just
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
I hulked out yesterday, or, I'm having trouble with this, I'm having trouble with that. Is there, do you have an opinion on this? And what you will find is, as you collaborate, they're going to figure out some stuff you're not going to figure out. You're going to figure out some stuff they're not going to figure out. And then, together you grow. And like Eamon and I, maybe not in the same direction even, but
Right.
that's not the
Correct.
point. I've
Yeah.
always been a huge supporter of his. He's always been a huge supporter of mine. Right.
Hmm.
And we've always pushed each other to grow as much as we can. We're good friends because of that. But like I said, we haven't traded together in years at this point. But
Yeah.
it's we were a big part of getting started.
Exactly, exactly. And again, your group can change as you progress as a trader, as things change. But being part of, of a team that can provide you that emotional support is important. And I get it. Some people are going to have the fear of being judged, with their struggles. But man, if you're talking to someone, if you're reaching out to someone, and they tell you they have not struggled through trading, that's probably someone you don't want to be a part of a team with, because I doubt that anyone that has started trading has not struggled. That is not a thing that
Oh,
we see. It's just not a thing that we see. So, definitely get over that, because we all struggle. And if you're able to share that, if you're able to be honest with you and share your struggle, you can learn from it, and you can be move on as a better
well,
trader,
by
right?
sharing it, you'll come to realize quickly that everyone else is going through it, because you're going to go to your
Yeah.
trading, this new person or this new group, and you're going to say, "Man, I'm struggling," and then you're going to immediately say, "Me too, me too, me too, me too."
That's like
I
everyone puts
mean,
their hands up, right? Right.
trading is an endeavor, and it's what when you're at college, right? You're in class with all the people who haven't made it, right? But it's really interesting in trading. You're in class with the people who have made it,
Hmm. Hmm.
and people who haven't made it. So it gives you this
Right. That's
very
true.
weird,
Yeah.
it gives you this very diverse perspective. And it's almost, in times, it can be a difficult, because when you're a new trader in a community, you see all these people doing
That's
well
a
and you
great point.
immediately want to be there,
Yeah.
but you don't realize you just started class, right? So you're starting the for some, for me, 4 year, 3 to 4 year journey, for others, longer, right? For some, precious prized few, shorter. But the most of us are going to go through a collegiate level journey here. You're going to have to learn how the market works. You're going to have to learn which indicator works, and you're basically going to learn that by learning every indicator,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
trying them all out till you find the ones that you really resonate with. And then you're going to have to learn to build strategies around those indicators, which there are a plethora of. Every indicator out there, someone's written a book on it. Someone's,
Hmm.
has
Hmm.
an idea about it. You got to find those and go through those. I mean, figure out which guru you're into, and, if they're a momentum guru, a range guru, someone like that, that's going to, which community you're going to get in. I mean, there's so many different things, and you haven't even started learning how to stock trade yet, and all these things you're already considered. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
3 to 6 months of just prep to even start thinking about this stuff. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Hello, friends. We're midway through this episode, and I really hope this conversation is motivating you to find a trading buddy, to be more active in the community, to collaborate with other traders, to become a better trader yourself, and in turn help others as well. Just a reminder, you can always reach us at podcast@bearbulltraders.com. We would love to hear from you, suggestions and feedback. That is very important to us as we continue to provide these episodes for you. Also, make sure to leave a thumbs up and a like and a comment. This really motivates Thor and I to continue to provide these amazing conversations. Most importantly, please make sure you're putting these things into action, as that is where you're going to get the most benefit in your personal trading journey. Now, let's get back to this great conversation. I like what you said there, man. I actually never heard that before, about, you being in a class with people that have graduated and people that are looking to graduate. That's a great way to put that. And that actually can, it can kind of discourage some people that are on the
Big
newer
time.
side to actually speak up a little bit and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, because you see usually people that are doing well, they've been there for a lot longer, so they're more comfortable in talking in the chat. So you only see the people that are more confident, which are usually the
Hmm.
people that have already, graduated and are doing well and are being consistently profitable, which we have
Yeah,
plenty
and
in our
imagine
community.
you're like
Yeah,
a freshman in senior level
right. Yeah,
classes,
it's a good
basically,
point.
too.
Yeah,
Because as all those people are talking, you kind of understand, but you don't, right? Because
yeah,
they're
yeah.
talking at 4 year, 5 year, high level, high market ideas, and you're just kind of saying, "Wait, what's a bid?
Yeah, yeah. Man,
What's an
that's
ask?"
a
You
good
know what I
point.
mean?
One of the things, though, I do notice in our community is that everyone is willing to help out. I mean, there's
Mm.
members there that started when I did. I go back to think about Dave from Connecticut and some other ones on there,
Oh yeah,
that started. They've been there for a while. That are very experienced, and they're willing to help out. Man, I saw Dave from Connecticut. I think it was today. Answer a very simple question, right? Not in a negative way. Somebody asked, what is this? And he was like, "Oh, this is that," right? He's been there for
yeah,
4 years.
yeah.
His guy's very experienced, doing very well, and he's able to answer, a simple question from someone that just started, right? Because I could tell that they barely had a year in the community. So I like that about the environment we have built is very
Yeah, I
friendly.
was gonna say
You
that's
know,
cultural for BBT. I know that
yeah,
I definitely feel that because if in BBT, if you feel like you're not welcome to speak up, it's probably because you haven't been in there a lot long and you're just still a little intimidated. But I assure you, the culture of BBT is quite the opposite of that. If anything,
yeah, yeah,
as soon as we identify somebody as a new member, we're like, what's going on? How
yeah. Welcome
and on
list.
my
Yeah,
mic
yeah,
time, I'll be like, everybody light them up, shout them up.
yeah.
We start linking them in and blowing them up a little bit with some links and make them feel good. And then once they're in there, I said, first thing I announce is they're in this level at your level. And I'll say that in my rooms. I'll be like, there are a lot of advanced people in here. Do not think
Hmm.
that means you cannot ask questions.
Right,
I'm
right.
like, ask
Exactly.
away. Even if they're advanced, it can help them to hear some of these concepts all over again. And believe me, the reason I know what I know as well as I know it is because I'm
Yeah,
teaching it all the
yeah.
time. Every day I get to reiterate these same concepts. I get to talk
Hmm.
about the same authors and these same books. So how has that benefited me in ways I could never imagine, right? I mean,
Right, right.
my overall knowledge and retention, what do they say? It's like, I forget how many hours. Is it like 10,000 or 40,000 hours or something like that to reach efficacy on something?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's, or competency. So, I've gotten that time, you know what I mean? I've
Right.
gotten to put
Yeah,
it in,
yeah.
and I got that time fast because I constantly, and I said, this is the benefit to you and me, you doing the pre-market show. I mean,
Hmm.
why are
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
so stinking
yeah.
good at levels? Why are you so good at isolating stocks on the move? Why are you doing this? Because you do it every day, and you're constantly working to perfect your craft and to get the better stuff and to bring it to the table. So it, right? You're good, and that's where we're going to all aspire to get to. But
Yeah,
you're only going to
yeah.
get there through your humble workings and working hard. But you and I both, I think, have to admit, without our community, where would we be right now? I
Oh,
mean,
oh
we're doing the
man,
Bear Bull
it's
Traders
yeah,
podcast, right? I mean,
yeah. It,
we
it
wouldn't
would have
even
been
be sitting
tough.
here.
It would have been a very tough ride if we would have stuck to it. And tell me, I'll tell you, man, we've been through struggles. I've been through times where I realized, man, is this trading actually going to work? Right? It's been a year and change, and for me at that time, a year and change is a very long time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Now knowing what I know now in trading, I realize that a year and change is nothing. So when
Mm-hmm.
somebody comes to me now and says, "Hey man, I can't figure it out," the first thing I ask them is how long you've been trading. And when I hear, a year, 6 months, 7 months, I'm like, okay, you got some time to go.
Yeah, you got some work to do still. That's
Here's
why.
my realistic time frame of how it went for me. It could be less for you, but for me, it's a lot more than a year and a half, right? So, but at
Yeah.
that time when you're going through it, a year and a half is a long time, right? And if it wasn't for the community, and for those that are listening, and thank you for doing that, and we appreciate a like, and in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or over on YouTube if you're watching. Understand that this can apply to any community. Me and you talk about Bear Traders because that's the community we are in.
Right.
But if you're
That's
in
what
another
we know.
community, yeah, if you're in another community, a lot of the stuff that we're talking here can hopefully apply to those communities. And if they can, then you got to reconsider the community that you are in, right? Not saying that they're bad, but these are some of the key things that you can actually, you could put this podcast, some of the things you can actually search for in a community, right? These are
Yeah,
for things
yeah.
that you want to make sure that your community has if you haven't joined one yet, right?
There you go.
And so far we covered, accountability, building a small team that you can really be accountable, collaboration, working with others, sharing ideas. That team could be a little bit bigger, right? It could be more people that You're not sharing such in detail of your finances and everything else. We talked about emotional support just now, being able to have that support from people that know about trading, not like you mentioned, good point, not just your wife and everything else. And the last one that which we kind of touched base on a little bit is learning opportunities, right? That's probably the no-
Mm.
the that's probably the most popular reason that people join a community. That's why I joined, the learning opportunity, being able to
Yeah,
look at the
resources.
courses, resources.
Yeah,
Never thought about the other three because I just didn't know any better, right? That I would need an accountability team, that I need to have, collaborate with other people, that I need to have emotional support. That doesn't happen for new traders. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about how can I learn?
yeah,
How can I make money as fast as possible? Right. So number four goes into that, being able to make sure you're taking advantage of all the courses and resources. But another thing on here too is having an open mind. I want to add actually to number four here, aside on the side of learning for opportunities. And the reason for that is because you might say, well, Artie's given a course on options, or Jared's given a course on options, and you're not an options trader, right? You want to trade equities. Be open minded. I will still go to
mm,
that course to see, what can I pick off here that can actually translate into my equities trading? Because I've done that plenty of times, and I leave that webinar. Wow, this is really good stuff. I can
no,
apply
yeah.
this to the way I trade.
Well,
You
in
know?
this example, right, options and the exercising of options at strike prices or expirations, right,
Yeah.
cause massive amounts of volume to come into the market,
Hmm.
right? Those options are often hedged using futures,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
more contracts that flood the market, and those force the buying or selling of actual shares of stocks across the market. So if you are a stock trader,
Hmm.
having an options scanner or some way and being aware of how options work, even if you don't intend to trade the contracts, understanding, hey, today's a quad witching day, right?
Yeah.
Or and what that means. These are things that are important to know because the market is going to be in play because of it, and the options, depending on what you're looking at, are going to cause the price to move. And by
Yeah.
understanding the options, you can get a better equity trade just by understanding that. So not only or what is what you're saying 100% on the nail, you should always, and this is a big benefit to the community, you should
Hmm.
always be evolving and trying to add more understanding of how this game works. It's like any
Yeah.
sports athlete. Just because you learn how to crush a home run doesn't mean you stop practicing bat your swing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to stay on it. If you want to be the best, if you want to stay active in the market, this market goes through multiple market cycles. So if you
Hmm.
feel like you're
Hmm.
getting bored, like you're really locked in here, start preparing for the next market cycle. If you're in a bullish market, it's going to be bearish soon, right? So
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
preparing strategies and getting prepared for what it's going to look like when you go bearish. After that, it's going to be choppy, like we've been going through now, kangaroo market. Do you have
Hmm.
strategies that are built for ranging? Right, and that are built for being able to take advantages of the highs and the lows and rejections during these time periods. It took me multiple years to build out, the pivot system that I use probably has about 10 to 12 total plays in it. Each
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
them applies to a certain market condition, right? Whether it's a bullish bias, a bearish bias, a balanced bias, and all these different things, because I'm constantly watching the order book to see, how are we going to line up? Where are we? Are we in a selling range, a buying range? Because these things all dramatically impact the market. So being in a community and those resources that you getting an opportunity to learn about asset classes that you don't even intend to trade. I mean, if you're not taking advantage of these moments, you know what I
Right.
mean? It,
Right.
it, it would just be like someone giving you a free class to learn how to learn some basic Spanish or something. And you're just like, yeah, I'm never going to use Spanish. I don't care. Why not broaden your horizons
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
go listen to the
Yeah.
course? You might learn something interesting,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
or find out you
Absolutely.
love the language
Yeah.
and rolling R's.
um, so friends, I really hope this podcast was helpful. Again, we want to make sure you're taking full advantage of your trading community, whether you're part of BBT, and if you're not, definitely check them out. But if you're part of another community as well, another trading community, I think these are things that you really have to take advantage of that we see traders not really think about when they first join, because that's not something that's on their mind right away until they realize, man, this is not as easy as I thought. I'm going to need to build a team around me to be able to get the support that I need to push forward and to last, a long time. Being able to learn and eventually become profitable, because it could take you a while, right? And if you don't have the support system in place, you're just going to quit. You're just gonna
Hmm.
quit, right? You need, if we didn't have BBT, the support system and my trading partners, and the emotional support that I got from them, it I would just wouldn't be around long enough to be able to become profitable, and that's the
Yeah, I
key.
agree.
That is the big key here.
Well, and
Um,
my trading style has taken multiple evolutions, and all of them
yeah,
were impacted by various people throughout. Norm
yeah,
turned me on to
yes,
volume and
yes,
price analysis.
yep,
Mark turned me on to pivots. I had another friend in the chat that started taught me how to read the order book. You know what I mean? So it's you need this because you just need to be exposed to these things. No one person can be
right,
expected to digest the vast amount of information that's out there. And why should you? Right?
right. When you have
Every
people that can
people
help,
have already
yeah,
done the hard work. They've already correlated the data. They've already created groups and interested places. If you're not in a community, I mean, you're missing out on a massive opportunity. And I'm not talking like a Twitter group or something like that. I'm talking about a real true blue, like good old community. There's lots of them out there, and all of them bring a particular value depending on what you're looking to get out of the market. But if
yes,
anything, just to constantly improve and keep yourself in the game, because the market will change around you. And even if you're not paying attention in the community, maybe someone else will be. But if you're just sitting there every single day logging in by yourself, I mean, if you have a performing strategy already, I'm sure that's doable. But at that point, now you're going to be really bored, and being really bored. This is part of the reason I started teaching others, is because I didn't want to get complacent, because the old term, if it ain't broke don't fix it, is
right,
there for
right.
a reason. It talks about complacency is what this is towards, which is basically,
Hmm.
if you get bored, don't start injecting variables in it because you want to live again, right? There was actually
Get
a
some excitement
movie
going.
I watched recently, and I can't remember the name, but we were talking about in the movie. It's got Will Smith in it, and at the end, he's doing this bet, and he basically says, "Hey, I'll bet you like 5 to 1 or whatever. I'll just pick a number." And he's saying, just pick a number off of a uniform out there. If I guess that same number, I'll win. And this big kingpin guy, like they end up doing it. And Will Smith, he actually had someone else do it, the girl, and she was right. And the kingpin guy just started laughing, and you could tell he was like, and they're like, "You're not mad?" And he's like, "No, that was the most incredible gamble I've ever seen." But what you can tell is this guy is so successful. He's won so much that the dude just wants to live again. He's willing to lose tons of money just to kind of get that dopamine
Yeah, dopamine
hit.
hit. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're in trading in the beginning, there's a lot of dopamine. Every single time you push that button. But when you get 5 years or 6 years in, it actually starts getting a little slow.
Yeah,
And one of the
yeah,
and one of
yeah.
the things that gets really difficult is not trying to create that. So having a community gives you a place to be where, when you are sitting at your desk waiting for something to happen, there are people to talk to. There
It's a
are
great point.
resources to
Yeah.
reevaluate. There's other people that are sitting there waiting. Like this morning, we were all waiting for the numbers to come out. So we're all reassuring each other, typing into the community, "Hey, no trades for me yet.
Let's
I'm
wait.
waiting
Let's
for the
wait.
numbers
Yeah.
at 10." You know what I mean? Other people are going, "Yeah, me either." We're all waiting. And then we got the momentum traders in there that are like, "Yeah, I'm done for the day." Right. So,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
really important, because if we didn't have both of those, the people who are done for the day, some of the people like me might freak out and start taking bad trades because people are already done. I haven't
Hmm.
even gotten in yet, and I'm putting in there. No, 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 no. We're waiting for 10. And then the move from 10 o'clock on, so far has significantly exceeded the move of everything prior to that.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was really worth it. So,
It's really good, man. Really good to be part of something with some people, to be able to collaborate, and again, it's just gonna help you move forward, right? And in turn, you can possibly help someone else, right? And there's no greater feeling, I always say, than you being able to help someone else out in their career and help them move forward in trading. So this goes for both sides, whether you're a beginner, and you're looking to get in, reach out for that support, put yourself out there. And if you're an experienced trader, these are some of the things that you really want to look out for. And if you have an opportunity to help someone in this amazing career, man, don't pass up on that. If you're able to be,
mhm.
maybe a mentor to someone, show them the ropes. That is a great place to be, and be thankful for that, and definitely take advantage, man. Because I always tell you guys, there's trading does not provide any satisfaction as far
Mm-mm.
as emotional as something that's long term, right? Yes, you can make money. You're gonna cover some bills. You're gonna withdraw, some cash from the market. That's great, but there is this satisfaction that trading is not going to fill, and helping others is, man, it's a huge satisfaction filler.
No, that's the main
More than
reason I
winning
do
sometimes,
this.
more than
I mean,
winning.
we don't really get extra money to do what we're doing right
No,
now. We
no,
just
it's
love
completely
talking to
free.
each
Yeah.
other, and we like putting
Yeah.
this out here. But I want to help other people in their journey, and that's kind of what's
Absolutely.
always kind of fueled us and our desire. And I think BBT is very much that way, and you can tell that even at the in the culture of it. You see all of the forward facing stuff Andrew puts out there: free trading simulators, free scanners, free stuff. He's really trying to support and help the overall retail trading community as much as he can, while still feeding himself, obviously. And, but he does good with his own trading, so he doesn't really need that. So the investment into the community, the whole trading community, is incredible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's really awesome. Come by, if you guys, just one little plug for us as we wrap up here. If you guys don't have a trading community, but you're finding this podcast, go to bearbulltraders.com. We're often running a free week trial that
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
in there, and they normally will tattoo the promo code right on there. If you don't have it, Carlos runs a pre-market show every single morning during the week. Pop by there; they will give you the promo code in the
Yeah.
pre-market show. So that'll help you get on there, and then come by and check us out. If you come by Bear Bull Traders and you don't hang out longer than a week, I'll be surprised. I mean, we're a cool place. We
Absolutely.
got lots of cool stuff. I'd love to, especially our extended podcast family that's starting to grow here. I'd love to
Yeah.
get to see y'all more and have you in the room with us hanging out. So, man, I appreciate it, man. Great talking to you today,
Yeah.
and
Same here, man.
I think this
Yeah.
is a really great topic, so hopefully everyone really enjoyed it. Don't forget to, like, depending on which apparatus you're using, if you could throw us a little love that way, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Guys, take care. Look forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Have a great one.